Welcome back to the absolutely incredible Rockets Round Robin / Rockets Propaganda channel. I am your man, your host, AK Infinity. Follow me on Twitter at AK_VVS. Please excuse the unprofessional setup because I thought I wasn't going to be able to do a pregame today, as y'all know if you watched the last pregame. But plans change. You got to be malleable. You got to be able to be adaptable on the fly and make things happen when you can. So here we are, MLK Day, Rockets versus Pistons on the way, and let's go ahead and get this done. Now, last pregame, because I thought we were gonna have a pretty comfortable win against the Portland Trail Blazers. Myself and Slaughter kind of went through, kind of discussing the potential what people would actually want to do with Fred and whatnot, because since his contract is a team option this summer, Rockets can decline or they can pick it up. I was kind of asking people what they wanted, what they thought, what they expected, what would make sense and whatnot. My man's in the building. Coach Dante in the house. What's happening, dog?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Happy MLK Day to you.
Happy MLK to you too, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Rockets versus Pistons today, though, bro. Early tip off, trap game like a mug. I think, bro. I think it's a trap. Yeah, I think it's set up for a trap game. I ain't gonna lie. But before I even started getting into the Pistons thing, I wanted to I want to get your opinion. Last pregame, we talked. Myself and Slaughter talked about the whole Fred situation, and people want to move forward with him because his contract is a team option this summer, and we could either pick it up, or we could decline it. But if we decline it, are we going to decline and let him walk? Decline it and extend him. If they're going to extend him, what's the vision for it? What's the contract? How long should it be? How much per year? But if we pick it up, we could pick it up and then let him walk next summer, or extend it, or trade him in the summer, or trade him at the trade deadline. I was going to ask you, like, if you were Rafael Stone, knowing what we know right now and projecting out in the future, what's your move with Fred?
Well, if you're getting someone, if like I say, I let him play throughout the whole season. I wouldn't trade him throughout the trade deadline. I think De'Aaron Fox stays with the Kings throughout the whole season. I think he gets in the offseason. If you have a feeling that you can get De'Aaron Fox from the Kings, then I think you let Fred VanVleet walk. You let him walk. If you can get De'Aaron Fox wants to come to a winning squad, and right now where we are a winning team at this moment. I think it's obvious that he's going to leave Sacramento. So your first option this all season for real. Like if you can get De'Aaron Fox, if you're going to get De'Aaron Fox, which is a good chance we may can end up getting him because again he's from Houston. I mean he wants to be a part of a winning organization. Then you go after him.
You want to be in Houston? We all know it.
Yeah, we all want him to be in Houston. So if you can get him, then you got to pick up the option, let him walk, and just let him walk. Appreciate his services. He's been a very good mentor, very good mentor, and he does a very good job of not turning over the ball and keeping his team like running or being a quarterback of this offense, but also while doing our winning streak, he's been a very good job of stepping back. By the way, we do Jalen Green starting to become that scorer, but De'Aaron Fox can put the ball in the basket too in big time situations. So we need,
and he can guard,
somebody, and he's
fast.
Can
get people involved.
And he's a very good underrated passer as well. He's also athletic, 6'3". So with the intentions of going into the offseason, your chances feeling good and getting him. I focus on De'Aaron Fox and just if we can grab De'Aaron Fox, just let Fred walk. Or if he's willing to come off the bench, which I don't think that's going to happen anyway. He's not. He's going to think he's a starter. Anyway.
You don't think so?
Nah, I think he's going to list himself as a starter. I'm just going to be honest with that.
I don't think if Fred says he wants to come off the bench,
if he wants to come off the bench, then you cut him. I think you cut him a deal if he wants to come off the bench. If he considering coming off the bench, but I don't think he won't want to come off the bench.
All right, my man Clips Gorman, man, what's your thoughts on that? On the Fred VanVleet thing for the summer, man? Like, what's your plan for him? You Rafael Stone. What would be your plan with Fred VanVleet? Knowing what you know now and trying to project long term, what would you do with Fred?
That kind of depends on what Fred thinks. I agree with Coach Dante that if he's, he kind of sees himself as an NBA starter, and if he thinks he can make 20 million, somewhere else for multiple years, I think he's going to do that. I think asking him, to stay on anything above 20 or 20 at 20 is really starting to put our books in a bind. So as long as he's willing to take like a 15 million per average annual and then, stretch it out for 3 or 4 years, take a step back on the bench and be willing to play, 20 minutes a game, sure. But then, now are you eating into the Reed Shepherd, what is developmental minutes? We ain't got many of those as it is. I just don't see a long-term fit, honestly, especially if we're going a De'Aaron Fox route. I don't see a long-term fit, with Fox's deal and the way that it's structured. It's scheduled to come off the same year that we'd have to start, making, or Jalen would start making a decision. So we could kind of structure a lot of different things with Fox and that Fred's contract, but I just don't see how you can apply all the, making everybody pay in the minutes and everything. It's kind of handy. That's good.
That sounds pretty reasonable. Slaughter, man, what's going on with you? I know you already gave your thoughts. I don't know if you have any updated thoughts on it though.
Well, I mean, we didn't. We just kind of talked about if the money would work. I think we either pick up his option next year, or we just tell him so long. Because even if we sign him to a 15-year, 3 or 4 year deal, not only you're eating into Reed's minutes, but you're going to be right up against the second apron if you extend everyone.
Oh, that's a good point.
Like in 2027, by the time you extend everyone. So I think you just got to let them walk and or take them next year. And I think it's also role dependent. I'm in agreement with you guys. Depending on it again, what this team, the front office and the coach have not really shown a willingness to want to take a step back for development. Yep. I'm not saying they're not developing the guys, but they have not been. Let's take a leap of faith.
It's already been said since the first day. The introductory press conference, that's already been notified.
Yeah. We're not taking a leap of faith that they're just going to be ready, or we're not taking a leap of faith that Reed's just going to be ready. They're going to have to show us that they can run point guard.
You have to get ready on the fly.
Before we don't have a plan. So I think that's, that makes me think that they're just going to pick up Fred's option, to be honest. I think that's the most likely thing that happens.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Do y'all believe that with Jalen Green's, and I know it's not been playmaking, but with his ball handling, Şengün's ability to kind of be an engine, his ball handling is actually pretty good. And Amen being in there, is that enough ball handling, in general? Does Ime look at this like, hey, I just need enough people that can attack the rim or attack closeouts in the right spots? Do I need a point guard? Yes, I do agree. We need Fred this year. But, if he's just running after it that year, and then we're kind of looking at, he wants either to pick up a $40 million option or walk. I don't think that Stone can really do that. You just really handcuff us if you do something like that. And I think that for now, I think Ime's going to play him to win, right? And but do you believe that, to start next year, do you believe the ball handling, is that enough ball handling for you in a starting lineup? I think is the real big question here.
Let's look at the Sacramento game as a template, right? Them dudes put up a ton of points. Like, we really balled out on the offensive end against Sacramento. Like, it was crazy. I was so happy about what I watched, bro. I wanted to cry, bro. Good, man. It looks so beautiful, bro.
I think so beautiful. That you're going to get that when you got a team with real rim protection. But I want to see it when you got a team like a Minnesota, something that's got a lot of rim protection that forces To LP to get the ball in different spots instead of just throwing him the ball and letting him start. That's one thing, but trying to get him the ball on the move against Gobert's and EDs and the things like that, I think are a lot different. And those are where you really kind of need Fred more. To me, it's kind of matchup dependent on whether you can do that. My question is, do you think that they could figure it out? Like you said, using that Sacramento game as a template, don't you think we could figure it out enough, and worry about the developmental part of it to start next year and kind of see where we're at that point, rather than sit here and say, oh, we need to develop for next year, for the down the road. Let Ime coach his team up, see what they can do with them, and then let's worry about that in the off season. But my question would be whether or not you believe that the ball handling is good enough to be able to throw those guys out there on an NBA floor.
I don't know who want to take that first.
I think it's good enough this year. I think it's just about good enough this year. Next year, I think it's gonna be a different story. This coming season, I think it's really good. I think it's good enough just to get past on this year. We've been getting past it. Thompson, one thing I can give credit to, he tried, but he's not too much of a good ball handler. He's an okay ball handler, but he's not a world beater ball handler. I see him still when I see him dribble the ball, I still see him kind of fumbling with the ball, losing the basketball. At the same time, I think his handles can get a little bit better. I think he can work on it and get a little bit better. And he handles it okay enough. He just handles it okay enough, but he still got to get better at ball handling. I think we just for this year, just to get by this year, I think we have enough ball handling for this year, just to get by this year.
Gotcha.
Let me ask you this: if we're in a playoff series against, say, let's say we in a playoff series against the Mavericks. Let's imagine playing the Mavericks without Fred VanVleet. And we just Şengün, Jalen, and Amen Thompson, the main guys, handling the ball. Is that enough to beat the Mavericks?
No, that's not going to be enough to beat the Mavericks or OKC or nothing like that. It's not going to be enough to beat nothing without Fred. That's why I'm saying this year with Fred, this year it won't be enough without Fred. That won't be.
The reason I bring that up is because the playoffs is what will tell you what you need.
Yeah,
the playoffs going to expose. It's the great exposure. So. Whatever your weakness is, the game plans of the playoffs they're gonna show you. They're gonna tell you. You're gonna find out. So
yeah. Man, I'd argue that through the second half of the season, if you believe it's enough, you can start adding Fred or adding Reed into those, a few of those minutes, and then it won't be such a steep learning curve next year. So you may have a little bit better of a ball handler. Coming off the bench and be able to calm them down in that type of role, and maybe to get Alpine in his spots a little bit better. But for the most part, I agree with you. I think there's enough now.
Yeah.
And there's enough in progression to just kind of let Fred's, fall off, just not pick up the option.
All right.
I think it's possible. To me, I think the bellwether of all of this is, in a practical sense, is not really the offense, it's the defense. And I don't think that they've shown that they can play good enough defense over the last, 4 weeks. I know I was optimistic about the defense after the Memphis games, but I would say those are kind of outliers at this point compared to where they've been for a majority of the time with, without Fred or as with the men at the 4. But I think it's possible that the Rockets could have enough ball handling between those three. But you're really reliant on Jalen to create the defense to move in order for Alpi and Amin to be secondary ball handlers and decision makers in that. And we don't really have another guy that could do that. And Amin would have to be the guy that does that. And then someone's got to step into his role, whether that's Reed as a secondary, person, but obviously he's catching it from way different areas than Amin's catching it right now. Or you have, or Cam or something, or he's got to develop like a short roll game or something that can stem the tide a little bit. But I think theoretically it's possible.
Okay. All right, cool. Any other thoughts on that before we start talking about this Pistons game?
No. If we're discussing it, I think your Coach Dante brought it up. It kind of depends on, what we're looking at as a replacement. I don't think that they're just going to let Fred fall off if there's not a, like you said, a Fox or a Booker. And you have to kind of adjust from there. I mean, Tyus Jones he'd be a free agent. So if we're needing somebody to kind of step into a Fred role that's a little more ready, we can go pick up somebody, even if it has to be like a Holiday. What fears me with the Fred stuff is that, his preseason comments were, I came here to be, to build a home and build a career and finish this thing out there. So, if Stone and Ime have been pretty clear and upfront with everybody, that's kind of their big thing is transparency. That kind of scares me that they've been transparent with Fred to tell him that, hey, we look at you as a long-term answer here. Maybe they feel like they need to pay him, 20 plus and keep him here for 3 to 4 more years. I just don't know.
20 mil will be my max. I'm not going above that. If you want to opt out, 20 a year for 3 seasons, I think that's good.
Hey, so I got a question. So just say, we got De'Aaron Fox. We know he's not gonna be back with the Kings. No matter how good they're doing right now. I think the bridge is broken with the Kings. And you got Fred, you got to go ahead and pay. Which one would you actually focus on first? Would you focus on like Fox, getting Fox in first, or would you focus on getting Fred his money? Would you focus on just like trying to get Fred back? Or would you just focus on trying to, let's go all in on De'Aaron Fox?
I think you got to go Fox first because you already got Fred in the building. Yeah, you already got Fred in the building. You could go to him and be like, well, he's 5 years younger than you, and he's a little bit quicker,
better than you.
Yep.
I have an unpopular Fox
than you.
Yeah.
Taller than you.
First time. I actually brought it up the first time the question was asked. I go Fox. If I can get De'Aaron Fox, then I just let Fred go. Just not pay Fred if I can get Fox.
Yep, I absolutely agree with that.
We'll see.
I have an unpopular Fred or Fox opinion. I mean, I don't think either. Like we talked about this in the last pregame. That to me, Jalen's usage is like the number doesn't quite represent really what his usage is, because I think a lot of that usage ends up in Şengün's pocket due to Şengün being the ultimate pass maker to the bucket, right? But it doesn't account for how much Jalen really has the ball in his hands for. And I think if you're going to add Fox in, then we're going to get a much more off-ball Jalen, which hasn't really been good. Or we're going to have an off-ball Fox, which is a completely new role for him. I'm not really sure how good he is at that. So I don't really think that their skills mesh outside of transition.
Different than what he already doing.
I think it would be because Fred's usage is so low. I mean, Jalen's not playing with a guard that's taking up a bunch of usage. It's the big.
I think that would affect Amin more than it would affect Jalen.
It would affect. Yeah, but it would affect. But Jalen's passing the ball. Amin's not starting a whole bunch of possessions. Maybe on his own, but not with Jalen on the court. Whereas I think if you're wanting to start the ball, it would be Fox with the ball first, not Jalen.
True.
If they're on the floor together. So I think it's a different dynamic.
Catch and shoot has been good.
What's that?
Jalen's catch and shoot has been on a big time uptick. And
well, he's not going to shoot. He's not going to make 4 threes. He's made 4 threes each of his last 7 games, and he's only made 4 threes in 6 other games before that. So I don't anticipate that continuing. Also, he played differently.
Oh, you don't anticipate that? I know.
Let me give you a little bit of a counter argument with that. And yes, I completely agree with you. I don't think that a Jalen, and here's the best way I think I could put it, would be that Jalen, the ceiling wouldn't change. It would still be on Jalen's ceiling to our team's success. In that case, we added Fox, in my opinion. But with Fox and that discussion, I try to look at it as a Fox or Fred discussion. So if you're going to get Fox, as long as you are not going to give up a giant amount of the future, which if he wants to come here, he's only got another year, year and a half left on his deal. So it'd be 2 years at that point, I believe. And so you wouldn't have to make a real live decision whether that completely worked until that deal is really up. And that would be a benefit for you. So as long as you would be willing to not pay, if you're going to go no Fred and Fox and look at it as that argument, then I would rather have an extra year of Fox and see how that worked. And then I could make that decision rather than I would have to re-up Fred for 2 or 3 more years and put him at a number that doesn't allow us to really do anything cap friendly anyway. Does that make sense? So if Fred's going to lock us down cap friendly to give us out of a max decision or out of a max cap spot, and we're going to give him $20 million for 3 years, well, we should have just given that max cap spot to Fox for the next 2 years and seeing how it works, and been able to make that decision as we're talking about the money and the long-term future of the team. And that would be the consequential year for Jalen as well. And it would just all kind of line up money-wise if you did do the Fox route.
All right. That's I didn't even look at it like that. It's such a nuanced conversation. That's why I wanted to kind of continue with
For sure.
On this
I
show,
agree.
man. I think we could probably
agree. I do agree. If you would have pull Fox and put in Fred VanVleet on this roster for this year, I wouldn't be exactly very happy about it.
Not this.
Right now, I'll give you, we'll give you a few of our picks and Fred VanVleet and even Reed Shepherd. I probably wouldn't be exactly happy about it. Now, and as you guys know, I mean, we talked about doing a podcast. I was going to be a big Fox proponent. That all changed in the last couple of weeks and from what Jalen's been doing, and I still thought, the ceiling was all depicted on Jalen anyway. But yeah, definitely since if you were going to change out Fox and Fred now, I wouldn't be too happy with Stone.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that you need someone to become a secondary playmaker so that Amin can move into a primary playmaker role when he's part-time, right? Whenever Jalen's off the court. And then you have, Tari or Cam or Reed be that secondary playmaker with Amin or with Jalen, right? That can stretch defense a bit or make a good decision when you need them to based on where they are on the floor.
I just don't think we would be playing as much of I think, like you were saying, that you're bringing down usages and stuff. I don't think we'd be playing anywhere near the same type of basketball we play if we had a Fox in the mix. And now you got Fox, Amin, Jalen Green, and those kind of running the floor. I just think you would have to change the offense to be more guard centric. And then, Şengün's, his usage would almost plummet. I think you'd almost take a lot of that. He would be pretty much our half court version, in my opinion. I don't
think he would.
You don't?
It's so many different.
I have to look at Sabonis's usage, but I imagine it would be similar. I mean, I understand what you're saying because you're splitting it, but Monk, Fox, and Sabonis could be similar to Jalen, Fox, and Şengün, right? And then Amin, I think what AK said is kind of like the odd man out in that scenario, or Amin steps into a Şengün role where he's strictly a either play finisher or he's catching the ball on a 4-on-3 short roll and making a decision.
Yeah,
which is fine.
When we go there, I think it starts to change. The amount of usage will change big time in Houston compared to a Sacramento role because they're playing everything for offense. They're playing very quickly. We're going to play a lot. We're going to muck the game down on defense. So in other words, the game is on defense. We take up the shot clock. That's our goal is to try to take the shot clock away from them. Their shot clock is to try to force them into a bad shot. So, and which we do too. In other words, what I would say about that is that we're trying to take up a lot more time and we muck it up on defense more than Sacramento. So the usage times change big time. They try to run their offense very quickly. We try to run ours very efficiently.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Offense. I think that when you have a Fox, Jalen, Amin type of dynamic, you just have to get out and run as much as possible. So it would look similar to the Sabonis usage on offense. It would just be so much further decreased because you don't give the ball as much to Şengün as long in that type of offense. If that makes sense.
Okay. But I think we can we'll probably do a whole show around that.
We need to
right before the trade deadline come around and all that. We got to do a show about that. Real quick, kind of want to touch on this real fast before we do the final predictions for the Pistons game. Chetman says, "What y'all think about Dallas saying they want a wing defender for Daniel Gafford? Think we can give them Tate and filler? Absolutely not. That ain't gonna work. They're not going for that." Mavericks are not going for that, bro.
Gafford hasn't been good for them this year. I mean, maybe if you sweeten it with Jock and they would have an actual backup center to play with Lively to eat up some of those Lively minutes. I don't know.
Nah,
I thought Dallas had interest in Tate too.
Because a reason is Steven Adams has been playing well for us. So I wouldn't be. I
don't even know if I would want to. Yeah, cool. Daniel Gafford is a lob threat. He's a shot blocker. But man, Steve-O, his presence on the court is just different.
Hey man, do you see how every time he set a screen, people literally just get stuck on it, bro? It's just like when you playing 2K, when you had a bad brick wall on and you just knock a person out. You just knock a person out every time you set a screen with him. That's Steven Adams right there. Man, just playing on just knock your behind out with that screen. You can see literally people just getting stuck. And Fred, somebody just be wide open for a three, or Jalen Green just be wide open because the center not gonna want to come up. Center not gonna even want to come up and try to contest it. That dude just set some great screens, man. And rebound. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's out today, by the way.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Who that out today?
Adams.
Is he?
Oh, okay. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to argue that with the Gafford stuff, and I really would like to see them go add somebody in that Jock spot. And you can argue Steven Adams and stuff, and I would argue that I'd like to have the option to play all of the above. To be able to put in a shot blocker and a lob threat in the playoffs would be huge for Ime. And I know he argues versatility ever since he's been here. That was one of the first things he argued about getting Brook Lopez, is be able to play, multiple different styles and be able to, play matchup dependent. And right now, one of the matchup problems that we do not have, or one of the ways that we cannot attack on offense, is in the air from our bigs. I know that Şengün's a good roller, but he's a good passer out of the roller, and so is Adams. But I'd like to see these guys have a good lob threat, just kind of see that. And most importantly, I'd like to see them to have a real rim protector. A Robert Williams for 10 minutes on this team is highly, highly impactful, and it's highly impactful in crucial situations. Gafford, Robert Williams, somebody that can protect the rim and it's only willing to play 10 to 15 minutes.
Gafford want to start.
Right. Like,
he ain't starting over Şengün.
Be willing to, you don't make that much money. So that's an option that I'd like to see, at least for the end of this year. I think we need to reassess that backup big at the end of the year, because we still don't have a long-term answer. We might need to look in the draft. We got picks and things like that. So, but for this year, I would like to see them have a rim protector, lob threat, just to have Ime be able to have some versatility off the bench.
Yeah, I just don't think that we're going to trade with not only a conference rival, but a division rival at this point, with us both being in the playoffs, knowing we could possibly be a first or second round matchup with each other. I don't see either team really wanting to deal with each other on that level right now. Even if it is for ancillary pieces, I don't think that them two teams are going to do any business with each other in the season. Now, in the off season, it might be different, but right now, during the heat of the season, we're in the thick of things, man. Like we number 2 in the West. I don't know if we want to give out too much intel, because when a player gets traded, people forget when you trade a player, you trading some intel too, especially if you're in the same conference. So I don't know if that's something I want to do right now. And Tate has been solid injury insurance for us. Very solid injury insurance. Now, had we kept Adrian Griffin, if we had kept AJ Griffin, I would kind of see that a little bit differently. AJ Griffin gone, so I don't know. I'd rather just look at something else. Not that I'm saying we got to keep Tate at all costs, obviously, but and I would like to have a Gafford coming off the bench for us. I just don't know that we're gonna do that with Dallas. Now, if you would have said Charlotte, that's different. Like Nick Richards, if we'd have got if Nick Richards was, I know we was looking at Nick Richards at one point too. By the way, if it was a Nick Richards, all right, cool. If it was like Atlanta with Okongwu or even Clint Capella, I know he's a little older, but that's something I would look at too. But I don't know if Tate gonna be enough. When we could have got 2 second rounders for Tate, we should have did it then and there. But I don't know right now, bro.
Would you be surprised if Dallas tried to sweeten that pot right there with the first round pick for Tate?
Oh, they could have him.
Oh, you just said a first round pick? Oh no, I give him away immediately. He can go with
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can go immediately. You got
How many lockdown wing defenders that are shooting over 35% are available right now for 2 seconds or 3 seconds or a late first round pick? Because that's what you're talking about here. You're talking about a Dallas first round pick.
a late first round pick.
You're talking about 25 to 30, right? On most seasons.
If you can get a first round pick for Jayshawn Tate, I'm taking it. If you can get a first round, I don't matter what first round pick you get. If you can get a first round pick, period, for Jayshawn Tate, he got to pay his game. I'll make sure he go. I make sure I fly the plane.
That's a huge net plus.
Yep.
That's great asset management.
Yep.
We signed Tate
for a first round pick for Tate, along with some salary. We can intake some salary this year, and if we send out Tate and somebody wants him, and we're intaking somebody's salary that they do not want to get off of, we would intake that salary for sweetener and a first round pick, and Tate coming back or going back for that is something that I would look out for, because there's a lot of teams trying to move 25 to 30, trying to get a wing defender and get off of salary and still have that guy, around and in the building to use in a playoff run. He's very
respectful, dog.
I think that there's a different dynamic in trades now. I don't think expiring contracts are valuable, really. I think everyone's operating above the cap. So honestly, I think 2 and 3 year deals are, a 2-year deal is like better, right? Because then you can kick the can down the road and have that salary available to you when you can make a trade during the off season.
Good point.
So I just think it's a different dynamic than it was 10 or 15 years ago.
Woo-wee. Yeah, bro, we really got to do one of these long-term shows. How
many expiring salaries fell off the books that played last year? Read that.
I don't have the numbers.
I'm
speaking strictly without numbers, so what I'm saying might be total BS, but that's just how I feel.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But they're not actually guys that play, right? And we have guys that play.
Yeah.
And are playable NBA contracts that would be going on for our expirings. It's a different dynamic when you talk about guys that actually play.
Yeah, but if I'm Dallas, I would like to be able to use that salary to do something next year and improve my team. Whereas once Tate's off their books, they just lost $8 million and they can't get it back.
Yep, you're absolutely right. But for a contender that's trying to get a wing defender is a different conversation.
Yeah, depends how all in they are. Yeah.
Let's table that for another long form video that we're gonna do. We gotta. I don't know about this weekend, what y'all feeling. We probably have to do. We gotta set something up very soon because.
Well, I ain't got nothing to do this weekend because of the weather and stuff like that. And I ain't got no high school ball probably this weekend, so I'm gonna be free.
Okay, cool. We'll work something out, man. We're gonna put something on the calendar, man. Real quick, let's go around the horn and give our final scores and quick predictions for the games, X Factor player of the game, and final score. Let's start with Coach. What you got? Final score, X Factor player of the game.
X Factor, man. I normally don't I normally think it real close, but it's so many players that you expect to step up, that you expect that's not X factor. So you gotta. It's almost like I gotta go bench right here. Somebody coming off the bench because you expect the starting to do something, do what they supposed to do. So I'm gonna go with Cam Whitmore as an X. I'm gonna go with him as an S factor. And you say final score too?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go Rockets. I'm gonna go Rockets 105. I'm gonna go Detroit Pistons 100. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Pistons are, improved team. And again, man, I want to shout out to our guy JB Bickerstaff, man. That guy's knows some basketball, man. That's a hell of a coach, man. That's our assistant coach.
Yes. For Kevin McHale,
Yep.
All right, Clips, what you got?
I'm gonna say it's to be extremely close. I'm gonna go 117-116.
Ooh,
I'm gonna get a buzzer beater, man. I want to see a buzzer beater. But these teams are a lot more evenly matched than Team One's given credit for, and it's like a rivalry game where everybody plays up to their best level. It seems like, including Jalen.
Draft positions.
It's like it's a rivalry game for Jalen Green with K.
Right, and now it's even more with the Twins, playing. So, I'm gonna say
I would say Jaden Ivey and Jabari too, but both of them hurt right now. So
X Factor Tari Eason. I mean, I think he's too much to handle for a Detroit team with him, especially an Amin on the floor together. Terra Twins back. And so I think, him is the X factor. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a good one, but we pull it out.
All right,
cool. A little maturity.
All right. Player of the game. I didn't get your player of the game, too, for both of y'all, Coach and Clips.
My player of the game today, I think it will. I'm going to go with Alp as my player of the game. Jalen Green been the player of the game for for damn near a month almost. For a full month, but I'm gonna go with LP. I'm gonna go with someone different. I think LP is going. It should be a game for LP today.
All right, cool. All right, Clips.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I just said LP. But I'm in good pot. I'm gonna say Jalen Green. Let's see Jalen have a really big game. With all this discussion about if he's really the guy. My number for Jalen Green from now on is 26 points. If he goes over 26, then he's done everything we've asked him to do. Yep. I'm not moving the goalpost. He's our scorer. He is not our all-star.
So he's supposed to be doing.
Yes, he's not our all-NBA guard. He's not supposed to put up every night 5, 6, 6, 7 to 8 assists just yet. Let him do what we ask him to do in that score. Jalen Green, player of the game.
All right.
Also, it's not moving the goalpost. It's just graduating. You're graduating.
I'm all right with that. That makes all the sense in the world.
But I'll go X Factor. I'll say Jock Londale. He provides some good minutes in the absence of Steven Adams. Oh man, Coach is about to have a fit.
I give him credit, though. I give him credit. I give him credit, just like I did Jay Shante. I consistently gave him credit.
I called out that one too. And then player of the game, I'm gonna go with Amin going against his brother, and then their guy that randomly goes off will be none other than Tim Hardaway Jr. forever and always.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my goodness, he does have a history against.
We already know what time it is.
Volume 3s.
Yep.
Final score.
I'll say it's 115-110 Rockets.
Yeah, bro. X Factor easily Tari Eason. I think it's gonna be one of them rugged games where the gritty players is really gonna shine. Player of the game is gonna be Alperen Sengun. Jalen Green is about to be in hell, y'all. He got to deal with Asar Thompson and Ron Holland, bro. Bro is gonna be in absolute hell, bro. I don't care what y'all talk about, dog. Everyone's gonna be in hell. If he cracked 20 points, I'm gonna shake his hand and say, "Good job, son." But I'm not seeing that today. Today is the off game. I'm telling y'all right now. But yeah, final score. Oh boy. Final score, let's say 112-108. It'll be closer than we want it to be, but it's gonna be pretty gritty at the end. I think we pull it out. This is my finals preview for 2027.
Okay.
Hey, Hey, let me ask y'all this, and this is bonus.
Yeah.
Does Tari play at the 5 today? Do we have a lineup where Tari or Amin is at the 5? Because we have not seen a no Adams and then having Tari and Amin and all that.
I think you see Amin at the 5. I think you see Amin at the 5.
The problem though is if Amin is at the 5, who's gonna be at the 5 for the Pistons? Because if it's Isaiah Stewart, that's a lot of beef to deal with.
Given my prediction, I'll say no.
Nope. Yeah, right.
I think we did see some Amin at the 5 at some point earlier, though. One game.
Yeah, I was just interested with Tari actually playing no Steven Adams. You know, that 5 spot's going to need, if he does real small, maybe put Cam in at the 3 to kind of give him some beef.
Yeah, Cam and Tari could probably handle it enough.
If it's Paul Reed, all right. But if it's Isaiah Stewart, man, you better not do a Amin Thompson or Tari, something like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if he's talking about that lineup you got out there, what Isaiah Stewart's starting to shoot it, but you know, Holland and Asar, probably get away with it.
Game's about to start.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I don't know if we're gonna do a halftime. Y'all let me know if you really, really, really want to do a halftime. That's cool.
All right.
I'm not really anticipating it.
Does Jalen
Poster? You say what?
Does Jalen Poster?
Oh yeah, he's gonna post to somebody.
He gonna get somebody. He been trying to too. He been trying to go get somebody. He been trying to.
He's gonna get somebody, man. But all right, y'all. Appreciate everybody who's still rocking with us at this point. Let's get to this tip off of the game. That boy Coach be ready to run, boy. I swear to God. Be ready to run. It's so distracting. But yeah, man, let's catch this game. Appreciate everybody who's still following us. Make sure y'all go like subscribe to the Rockets Round Robin YouTube channel and follow everybody that you see running down there below in the little red little strip. But yeah, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we can all be friends. Make sure y'all all come back again. We out.